Thank you, everyone, for good morning, good evening, good afternoon, for tuning in with us again. This is just to give the credits. This is Zueenie Projects Production. Great. Okay. Now, those of you who don't recognize me, I did a press conference earlier this week. Uh, that's neither here nor there. Just want to let you know my name, my given name, is actually ZPP. ZPP. It is just three simple letters. Yeah, in the English, American English, I guess you could say. Yeah, ZPP. That is name. Anyway, we were discussing yesterday the pivot, and that the pivot has two actual points, point A and point B. I came to the realization today that the pivot actually has 3 points, and I may come up with more, but for now, this is point A, point B, point C now on a pivot. And the discussion was about what I consider to be medically accurate. How do I define medically accurate? Something being medically accurate. Very good. So we will begin the argument, all right, from the point where we began yesterday. All right, here it is. I believe something to be medically accurate if the medical practitioner that's attempting, or calling himself a medical practitioner, okay, whatever, if he is the complete exact me, right, height, weight, of course that's a consideration, but more importantly, the actions that he, or he, it would have to be a he, I think, the actions that he or whatever my medical practitioner has taken has to be the exact as mine, right? Same height, same weight. If I went in on a swim, he would have done the same swim. If I went to take I don't know, bounce a basketball, he would have to have bounced the basketball also at the same time, even. Well, yes, it's space considerations, all kinds of things. But anyway, if it's possible, it would have to be. I do not believe it's possible. Maybe it can be. But it would have to be the exact me. Right. Maybe cut a few corners because I don't think it's possible. But other than that, anyway, let's just say we don't cut corners. Exact me. Then, okay, and only then, if that is not found, does not exist, would I move to marker number 2, which would be the complete opposite of whatever I am. Right. So it would be the polarity, the extreme opposite, the polarity, I believe is the word, of me and my actions. Me, I mean myself. Yeah, Zueenie, that. ZPP. Right. Did I mention earlier that this is I forgot. Yeah, just in case. This is a Zueenie Projects Production. And those of you who are just tuning in, my name, given name by my puppet master, is ZPP. ZPP, like the 3 letters, ZPP. And this is Zueenie Projects Production. Right. So the complete me again, the exact me, if it's possible. If not possible, move on to marker number 2, which would be the exact opposite of me. And I'm talking extreme, exact opposite, the exact polarity of who I am, right? Marker number 2, I'll take a listen, see what you got to say. And then, and only then, if that both cannot be found, or one of the other cannot be found, would I consider a pivot? Right. Now the pivot, it's not a one-directional pivot now, man. It's just a pivot going all over the place, it looks like to me. It's a multi-directional pivot. Maybe that has something to do with the multiverse. I don't know. That's another discussion for another day. But when you do your pivot, you would be, after you hit your second marker, you would be point A, which point A is somebody that has done so far more than I have physically that I should listen. I mean, it's incredibly stupid because at some point I will get to his motion. Right, correct. So it's not the middle action. That's too vague. Right, too good. It's correct action. Right, this is a pivot. It's towards correct action, not some type of middle of the ground action. It's correct action, and the correct action is point A, in my estimation, which is somebody that has done so far more than me, physically done it, not a computer who hasn't done a damn thing and just collects information. No. Physically have done so much more than I have that I should consider listening, because I would just be a complete idiot. I'm eventually going to hit his motion. Right. Hopefully we were exact at doing it. Anyway, keep going. And then point B would be, okay, of this pivot, because there's 3 points, I believe. Just continue doing what the hell I want to do, because nobody can match me, and there is no extreme opposite. Exact, or not just extreme, exact opposite is what we're looking for. So, because those two things do not exist, and those two markers may never be crossed, you should always consider the one that has done more than you, motion-wise, not craft-wise, or has more pocketbook money, or looks pretty, more pornography. No. Not the one that's had more sex. The one that's had, if you combine the motion, and even the combinations of motion, that's ridiculous count, by the way. Either way, you would consider, like I said, the one that has done more, or the ones that have done more. Point A on the pivot, point B on the pivot. Just continue to do whatever the hell you want, because you can't find your opposite, and it's not the middle ground, and nobody's going to meet you exactly. Right. So that's point B. Point C would be the epiphany point. Epiphany, always critical epiphany. What does epiphany mean? Well, for me, I would have to look for a mate. I mean, I'm a living being. For me to expect to be alone for centillions of years, and I mean that's doesn't make any sense. But I could see myself long periods, maybe trillions of years, maybe. Yeah. There's a lot of people I do find attractive, by the way. But anyway, I would have to seek a mate, right? And after I found my mate, I would have to have had, we would have to meet. They use coitus now. I'm a fan of that show. Big Bang Theory, say a lot. Coitus. Yeah, we would have to have coitus. We would just. I like saying, a fuck fest. Just get down and dirty, and like there's no tomorrow, and we just can't get enough of each other. Yeah, we just rape each other because we can't stand to be apart. And it does happen. I hear it happens. Right. So I would have to find that and then enrich through all the arguments and all the good parts and all the parts that we're not exactly. Still not the middle ground. Why? Because we're in a high, right? We're in a state of epiphany. So we would have to find that epiphany. That's point C on the pivot, right? So yeah, I moved it by the way, from the discussion yesterday, that point that I was making was already made, point C, but it was in point A or point B. I moved it. I shifted. Yeah, So it's like the never-ending moving pivot, and maybe find more points to it as well. I mean, we might be going through whole different alphabets and all kinds of things. But anyway, it's a never-ending pivot, yes. So it's not a directional pivot in any one direction. And a lot of people think it's a pivot to the left or a pivot to the right, and you're completely wrong. There's no such thing. There's no directional pivot. But that's another argument for another day. Right, so there you go. Point A, point B, point C. And the original two markers are the most important, yet we do have some possible huge solutions. Right. And that is how ZPP, Zueenie that. A couple of people like to say thank you to Anthony Cifuentes. Who else we need that, right? Myself, ZPP, of course. And yeah, let's just start with that. And Zueenie Projects Production, Zueenie.rx Radio. Right. Which, once again, can be found, if you weren't listening at the press conference yesterday, in our social media presence, which we believe to be Facebook. Correct. Thank you very much. That's the conclusion of this conference, or this meeting, or this discussion, whatever you choose to call it. Thank you very much for tuning in. And don't forget that I love you. I really do, and we do. We love you.